It is Thursday, August 22nd, day 62 of my modified 90-day novel writing challenge. It is 12:50 p.m. I am in the middle of my writing session. I just breaked to make some green tea. I've got the windows open because it is absolutely beautiful out, and that fresh air is definitely fueling my creativity. It is 1:20 p.m. and I have written 202 words. I have crossed the 7,000 word count mark threshold, and mentally I am in a so much better place having written a slow 7,000 words than when I wrote 1,000 words every single day and wrote 7,000 words in a week. I am going to gush again that I am loving this intuitive pace, and I am so excited to continue with it and hit that 10K mark. I plan on celebrating myself at every 10,000 words reached, and that way I have something to look forward to as I'm writing in my manuscript over a long period of time, and I am infusing this process with joy. If you have any ideas for how to celebrate in a small way and make special reaching writing milestones, let me know, because I'm curious. I want the ideas and the inspiration that can help me romanticize my process further. It is Friday, August 23rd, day 63 of my modified 90-day novel writing challenge. I have been up since 6 this morning, and it has been a very full, busy, productive day. I was feeling well enough today to go to the gym, got a lot of errands done, and also a really solid amount of reading. I have lately been really focusing on increasing my reading because I have found that that's really my core activity, and writing really for me is secondary to the reading I do. And I only really discovered this in this challenge. At the beginning of this challenge, I was really pushing hard for a high volume word count, writing 1,000 words every single day, and that is a lot for me. I know some people can crank out 1,500, even 3,000 words a day, but 1,000 words every single day for me was tremendous. So when I was doing that initially, I really cut away from my reading, and that pretty much flopped so badly for me. So, learning from my mistakes, I reverse engineered my approach to the writing process, and rather than prioritizing the writing, I now prioritize the reading, and writing comes after that. I write intuitively, but I write every single day. I stop when I feel I'm at a good place, and with every single spare moment I have, I try to fit in some solid reading, and that has been working so well for me. That said, I thought about it some more, and I realized that reading is what got me into writing in the first place. It is the magic of reading that inspired me to want to write. My thinking now is that I should continue in the activity that inspires me to write. It really seems like such a counterintuitive switch to prioritize the reading over the writing, and I'm likely really on the fringe here with this perspective. At least I haven't seen many conversations or discussions about people writing less and reading more to write better. But if you are someone who is more of the intuitive writer, or someone who's been really burned out by the extremes of writing in the past, this could be a method that really brings you back into the joy of writing, and that also helps you establish much more healthier approaches to your writing process. It is now 2:45 p.m. and I have just finished my writing session. For today, I wrote 265 words. I'm really happy with how my session turned out, so I'm going to end here. It is 9:00 p.m. My husband is cooking us dumplings for dinner. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be up until at least midnight. I've been really barreling into my reading. I'm trying to finish up as many books and ebooks I can by the end of the month, because by September, I want to have a clear slate for my TBRs. I have so many exciting TBRs. If you've already seen my book haul video, I added a few more books to that collection. I think I got a little carried away with the fall energy that's starting to appear. I ended up thrifting Harry Potter 5, 6, and 7, and today I ended up purchasing 4 more books to add to my collection. Mysticism by Evelyn Underhill. I sampled a few pages on Google and it just sucked me in, so I bought a copy on eBay. I finally caved and bought Canterbury Tales. I finally also purchased a copy of Moby Dick. I read it as a kid and I don't remember any of it, so I really wanted to reread it in my adulthood. And it's something that I did want to add to my collection, so I've been on the hunt for a nice thrifted copy, and I finally found the one that I wanted. And lastly, I came across a copy of The Scarlet Pimpernel. I can't really remember if I read that in middle school or not. I think I might have heard about it, but maybe I didn't read it. Anyways, I sampled a few pages on Google again. I was like, oh my goodness, like this is interesting. So I picked a copy of that as well. I have 8 days to finish up as many books as I can. I will keep you posted. I almost forgot to add that I had some points that I could use on Amazon, and I ended up purchasing one of my books that I made, my version of the public domain work, The History of Magic. I wanted an aesthetic copy with a nice, fresh, modern cover, and I wanted to retain the original inky text. So I created this version for myself, and I forgot to purchase it along the way because there has been a lot that has happened in my life since I first made that on Amazon KDP, such as another book that I made, another public domain work that I made my own version of. I did one for Plato's Republic in large print, and I did that for my father-in-law. So I ordered The History of Magic for myself because I forgot to do that along the way, and I'm really excited to get into it. I know History of Magic is really just Levi's fantasies surrounding magic, and I am okay with that. It's not really a history book according to academic scholarly historians. All the same, it's still interesting to me. And personally, I believe that history is more made up, more invented by mankind than we give it credit for. It's not that I think that history is bogus. It's that when it comes to what is published, there is a lot of bias behind that. I generally don't accept as fact or the truth of life and existence as a whole stories perpetuated by a select group of people, cherry-picked to be the authorities on what all went down in our world. I appreciate the perspectives, but I always take them with a grain of salt. And so whenever I see historians arguing over each other, bad-mouthing each other, being like, this person's not credible, I'm more like, everyone has their unique perspectives and everyone is entitled to have their own point of view on life. I don't necessarily think that one person is more correct than another. Some are more persuasive. But that's my little fringe opinion on history. It is Saturday, August 24th, day 64 of my modified 90-day novel writing challenge. I have been up since 6 a.m. and I did go to bed a little past midnight. I got a lot of reading done, and this morning I am deciding to DNF a book, Zen in the Art of Writing by Ray Bradbury. He is a famous writer, but I'll admit that I have not read anything by him except for Zen in the Art of Writing, which I got 56% of the way through. Ray seems like a really wholesome type of person, and there were definitely little nuggets that I did enjoy and appreciate from my read, but I picked up this book with some expectations that it was going to be more instructive. However, it is mostly anecdotal. I respect Ray Bradbury and what he's done in the writing world. Truthfully, his style is not one that I prefer or gravitate towards. It's whimsical, it's got a beat to it, and it lightly reminds me of Stephen King's style. He also did a book on the craft called On Writing. I also got about halfway through that and DNF'd for a similar reason, that I was expecting it to be more instructional and it was more anecdotal. And though I also admire Stephen King's work ethic and his success as a writer, his style is not my preference. The whimsical books that I do enjoy, I have been reading Castle in the Air by Diana Wynne Jones, and I'm also halfway through that, and I think I will be finishing it. I am also almost 50% through with Resurrection by Paul Selig, and I will definitely be finishing that. It is a little past 10:20 a.m. I have been reading from Existentialists and Mystics. Got some annotations. I am at page 175, so I'm a little more than a third through. This book has been a bit of a challenge, but I still haven't DNF'd it yet, and I was wondering why I still kept coming back to it to read. My desire to read this book outweighs just a little my desire to give it up. And then it occurred to me that this book is very dry. So there are a lot of passages that I'm just reading, but then every so often I encounter a really illuminating phrase or insight, and that compensates for the overarching dryness of this book, is what I realized. So it is very much a paradoxical read on a similar caliber as Resurrection by Tolstoy, which I also did finish. And for Resurrection by Tolstoy, because I'm also reading the other Resurrection by Paul Selig, I would say that was worth the read, but it's not one of my favorites that I will be rereading. And I think that's the vibe I'm getting with this book, that I'll be glad to have read it, but I won't want to reread it. And since I have my annotations, I will have that to revisit. I was also a little challenged by how to approach reading this book. I think there are various reading strategies one can employ to read in different subject matters, and I was thrown off with how to approach reading this book because it's a collection of essays, writings on the subject of philosophy and literature, and I don't read philosophy usually the same way as I read literature. So I was a little confused on how to approach reading this, and honestly, I'm just reading it like literature, and that seems to be working for me. At the beginning of reading this book, I was trying to read it as philosophy and as something I might read or study for school, and then I realized I am not studying this, I'm reading this for enjoyment. So I switched gears, and that's why I'm also reading it like literature. Another philosophy book I am reading like literature, this book right here. I'll let you read the title. I studied Plato in college back when I thought I wanted to major in philosophy, though I ended up dropping it to a minor. I was on a dual degree path for philosophy and nursing, but then both of my programs got changed, and then scheduling became a nightmare with nursing as my curriculum ramped up, and I literally had to choose, am I going to pursue philosophy or am I going to pursue nursing? And at the time, I thought nursing would be the most practical path for me, so that's why I dropped philosophy into a minor. And also I thought, at least with philosophy, I can change that to a minor, but I can't minor in nursing. Anyways, I am not reading this, however, as I would have read it in school, because also it's for my enjoyment, and I do not like to stress in my readings anymore. I definitely want to finish this book, however, because it is so packed full of wisdom. And if there is a genre classification for books on wisdom or books that give one wisdom, that is my alley. In my mind, wisdom is a superpower, and I think it's magical. It is 11:40. My husband and I went to the farmer's market for a taco mission, but it failed. So we're gonna go back again, maybe in an hour or so. It got really hot, but I got my coffee. This is a good sign. It means I am feeling more like myself because coffee is an essential part of who I am. I'm also super sore today from my gym session yesterday, and so the coffee is really helping. I'm going to sit for my writing session in just a little bit. It is 1:37 p.m. and I have 249 words for the session. Our second taco mission was a success. I am done with my writing session for today, and now I'm going to spend the rest of the day reading. I'm going to end this vlog here, and I will see you in the next episode.